Now that the holidays are done, you know.
Absolutely. Dude, I thought of you because I had Culver's. Man, it was so good.
Dude,
Yeah,
I suggested Culver's today. We went to Chick-fil-A instead for
oh
lunch.
my gosh.
Our Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
had weird hours too. It was like 10:30 to 4 or something today.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
we had Mallory's like family birthday party, so all the family
Oh,
came over
that's
today.
right. Yeah.
We had Pizza Hut for lunch. Like
Oh,
we bought
nice.
Pizza Hut pizzas. So
I'm not the biggest Pizza Hut fan. I mean, I love all pizza. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite. But Emily loves their pasta, and like she's always bummed that we never go to Pizza Hut because she wants their pasta because like I won't eat pizza like because I think I'm ruined because I love the '90s Pizza Hut. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like it's like gone way
Like
downhill.
where you go in, I wish you could still go in, like and
Oh
sit
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them are just like a little like to go carry out only. Like the one by our house is like
Ours are
that.
too. Yeah, yeah. Same.
But there's like some Pizza Hut classics. There's one like in Muskegon, Michigan area where it's like I think they have the red cup still, you know, like the old school pan pizzas, like
Yeah.
because
In
that
the
used to be a treat.
tablecloths and like the
Yeah.
video games.
Yeah. When I grew up, man, I would only go to Pizza Hut once a year is after our annual visit to a Tigers game. We go to Tiger Stadium, then on the way home we hit up a Pizza Hut, man. That was like my childhood like
Oh,
goal. That was the highlight of my summer.
for real. I mean, because you would get, like it would come out and they'd serve you the first piece, like it'd be piping hot, like out of that. It was like a skillet. Oh
Yes.
my god, it was so good and had like the checker,
Yeah, the checker
tablecloths.
counter paper. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
man.
dude, it was
And
so good.
then like the Pizza Hut buffet like changed my life. That's how I like discovered like barbecue chicken pizza. Like I was
Oh,
like, what? This has
killing
been
me,
missing
man.
from me my whole life.
Oh man. Yeah, we don't have any of those classic. I've seen like because I also like a lot of retro podcasts, and one of the
Yeah.
guys talked about one of those, but we don't have them around here.
Yeah, I mean it's not I mean it's still like 2.5 hours from where I am,
I'd
but
be going there all the time if they did.
I need to try it sometime. But yeah, but the pasta, Emily like loves their pasta.
I never had. See what I like at Pizza Hut though is I like that the crust that's kind of thin, but then like it comes up on the edges and it's like crispy on the edges.
Okay, okay.
Whoa, ho, ho. That's my jam.
Nice.
And the Italian sausage,
Hmm.
so good.
Yeah, I should send you the photo. I had a spicy chicken sandwich and like at Chick-fil-A because they have like the ketchup, you know, where you can like tear the top off and you can kind of
Yep.
like squeeze it slowly. So I always put like a smiley face on my sandwich when I do that. But today I wrote a 25 on it for 2025.
Nice, nice.
And
Yeah,
then
what are we gonna get for dinner? I was like Culver's, and then immediately thought of you guys. Like,
dude, I love Culver's, man. I mean, we are surrounded by them, but yeah, it's so good.
we have one right in front of LS Teca. It's like right
Okay,
in the
nice.
parking lot. But
What'd you get? What'd you get? Did you get like a
I'm
burger burger?
crazy. I got a weird order. I didn't get a butter burger. I was like, I'm gonna get something different. So I got the Atlantic cod sandwich.
Oh, dude,
Dude, that thing rocks.
Elizabeth likes that a lot. Yeah,
Oh, dude, that thing is so good because it got like cheese on it and stuff.
yeah.
And I got a bowl of chili and an order of fries. Y'all went big. I was
Okay,
like,
George's chili. Yeah, I don't get that very often,
the
but yeah.
chili was good because it's freezing again here. Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah.
dude, it's gonna be so cold in Florida. I don't even want to go now at this point. It's gonna be so cold. I hate cold. If I get my money back on my flights and if I could get my money back at everything, I would not go. Like
That's painful,
100%.
man. I
Yeah,
know.
100%. Like if I
But
wasn't
yeah,
already paid,
man, I
can't.
love a Barter Burger. I like their buffalo chicken tenders. Honestly, is one of my go-tos at Culver's too.
See,
But
I can't do buffalo chicken because it's too hot for me. Like
I don't think this would be as bad too, because and it's like a dry rub. Actually, like it's inside the batter. It's interesting.
I might
So
try it then
yeah,
because like I get burned by buffalo chicken all the time. Like I'm
okay.
like I
I
think
got it's fair.
sometimes it's like sweeter
You
and I
like the
like
spicy
the
chicken at Chick-fil-A, right?
no, I don't
Oh,
get
no, you do the regular one?
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
never mind then. Because I was like,
Yeah.
it's about
I
the
get the
same heat as
deluxe.
that.
I get the deluxe sometimes. It has like the pickle or not the sorry, like the
Yeah.
lettuce and the tomato and the cheese.
Okay, but you don't do the spicy one. Okay.
Mhm. Paige gets that, but she doesn't even eat the bun. She just eats the chicken.
Okay.
Paige likes stuff like blazing hot. She's crazy. Anyway, we're talking fast food today, everybody. Hey guys.
And it's Wednesday night, so like this is my Mike Ramen trait of mine, like with my routine. Like Wednesday is always Qdoba. So we had Qdoba tonight. I don't know if anyone
I
knows
saw
that.
you at Qdoba because I looked to see where you were. You were walking
Okay.
into Qdoba. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say 'cause I saw you because you were right next to a store called like the Big 10 something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Big Ten. Yeah, Big Ten. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you about that because I
Yeah.
saw it. Like, that place. What's that place all about?
Yeah, Big Ten's right across the street from the Qdoba there. Yeah.
Is that a bar?
So it's a liquor store basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that's where like the frat houses get their like kegs and all that, you know.
I saw that. I was like, it's the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's actually a few Big Tens around here, but yeah, that's
That's what
like
it's
the
like.
main one on campus, right? I mean, I was right there on Michigan State's campus, is where you saw me.
Oh, really? See, I didn't
Yeah,
zoom out. I just saw you, and I saw you were
yeah,
moving, and then I saw you stop. So, but
that's
it
funny.
didn't say, it wasn't labeled, so I had to zoom in. That's oh, he's in Qdoba.
Yeah, I was on the main strip of town. There is where I was. It's funny, because that Qdoba always is hopping on a Wednesday where they had the burrito special. So like, I actually avoid it when school's in session, but since the
Everybody's
students
gone.
are still gone, there's two people in there. Like it was dead empty in there.
Nice. We're supposed to get like a big snowstorm on Sunday, so we're like,
We were supposed to get one on Monday, but now it's gone. So like that's good. So maybe yours is gone too. I don't know.
no, no,
Or
no.
did you look
Well,
recently?
dude, well, I don't know how because you guys are more north, so you get more snow than us. But like, if there's any chance of a snowstorm coming through here, do the weather people lose their stuff?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they are making it out like we are going to be buried.
Yeah, ours is gonna be like 7 to 9 on Monday, but now there's no snow at all. We got a bunch like yesterday actually, so it all like shifted on us.
And
But
they won't tell us the number, right? They're like, you can't
okay,
give me a number till 2 days out. But this one, gotta watch it. It's gonna be a big because they're like, it could be sleet, could be freezing rain, could be
yeah.
snow. Depends on the track.
Oh, you
But
should have put in the Discord like because there was that awful event that happened
in
overnight
Bournemouth, yeah,
that canceled the football game. You could have been like, hey, you guys were gonna watch the football game. You come watch the podcast.
I know.
I'm
We
surprised.
should have.
Actually, we got like 39 people watching. It's not too bad on New Year's
People,
Eve. I mean, New Year's Day.
I think we'll pick up people because I think people are, like, I mean, I was because I was planning on sitting there because this was the game I was going to watch. Well, I mean, the Rose Bowl I wanted to see, but then the game got so one sided so fast. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I thought that would be a really good game. I thought that'd probably be the closest game out of the three.
Oregon just got bad draw, man. Like,
Oh,
because like
yeah, they got really, yeah, that was
as the best team, the only undefeated team, and like they should have had like SMU or something.
yeah. I know.
Like I mean, I don't know how that works out, man.
Dan
But
Lanning saying right about now. He's like,
I'm
well,
sure.
I went undefeated. Have to play Ohio State in the first
And
game.
then a team that you beat earlier in the year, like so they got like a little revenge thing on their minds, like
Yeah, dude.
it's brutal.
Yeah, Pam's like, because Pam does not like Ohio State. She cannot stand their coach, and she said,
No one likes Ohio State.
and she said, she's like, man, Texas and Ohio State next week. She goes, that's gonna be a good game. I was like, man, Texas is gonna get rolled if Ohio State keeps playing like this. Like, I mean, I don't like Ohio State
She's
either.
right.
If
But
Ohio
yeah,
State plays like this, they're gonna beat everybody. I mean,
I know.
they're just
That's the tough one for me where I'm gonna like
they're
do
just
I go
they're
Big
just
Ten in that game? It's Ohio State though.
But that Texas game was just because like I was walking on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
that
like,
game was so
oh,
wild.
and because Mallory was trying to take a nap, right? Because she stayed
Yeah.
out late and like got
Mhm.
in, and then she had her whole birthday parties. The whole family was here, so I was like, making a big deal out of her. As soon as the family left, like she went into her bed and took a nap. Well, the treadmill was right under her bedroom, right? So I'm walking on the treadmill, watching on my iPad with my AirPods in. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! No way, donk.
Yeah.
She's
I
like,
know, like the two missed field goals, right? And then there's like was it targeting? Was it not targeting? Because
that
I
was
almost
so
like
targeting. Did you think it was targeting?
I thought it was targeting.
He donked him right in the head.
I
Yeah.
know. So then then I thought like, oh, that's a ball. No, that's why I thought I was like, that's a ball don't lie scenario with the doink, because like
Yeah.
Arizona State should have kept the ball, or I mean Arizona State could have just won the game right then. Like when you got the extra yardage and then you kick a field goal. I mean, I know they had a bad kicking team too, but that game was just
And that's
madness.
Nadaboo, man. That dude is
But then,
unbelievable.
like
Oh my
the
god.
4th and 13, they had the game won. It reminded me of like Georgia, Alabama, like the college football championship game, like a few years ago, where I think it was a similar scenario. Georgia had already scored in overtime. It was 4th and forever. Then it might have been Tua actually that just had like a crazy play that
Oh,
won
the
them.
one that when they beat Georgia?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
yeah,
4th
yeah,
and
yeah. Oh,
like
yeah,
forever,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Wasn't
God,
it? Like,
yeah. It was
yeah,
it was awesome.
that's what that play reminded me of.
We were at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, we were at Walt Disney
We
World.
were at Ariel's, I think.
Mhm.
For sure, we're at the beach club.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that was a beautiful throw because he's a lefty. Whew, that was gorgeous. Yeah, because they benched Jalen and brought in
That's right. That was
half.
that was right. Yeah,
It
because
is
like
it
Georgia
wasn't
kind of
hurt.
dominated the
They
first half.
switched
Yeah.
it up. Yeah, and
Mm.
and he threw that just dart Dude, oh my god.
Because I want to say it was like 4th down and like 20 something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
like
because
that.
because he had taken a bad sack, I think, right before
Yeah,
that.
and then I mean that was for the national championship. I mean a little different than today, but
It's
dang.
Georgia. Yeah, it was against Georgia. Oh,
Mhm.
I kind of want Georgia. I kind of like him liking that Georgia backup quarterback. His story, dude. He drives a pickup truck with no air conditioning. It's got 300,000 miles on it. It's
Yeah.
better than the Carson Beck driving the Lambo that's worth $300,000.
Right. I know. Yeah.
I'd rather have the kid that's driving. Fireworks on it. It's pretty cool.
Well, you got fireworks going on?
On that little clock.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I see it now.
I
Yeah.
just saw it like in the screen here. I'm like, that's pretty cool. It's got little fireworks going on. Just for New Year's. This does stuff. Yeah, so it was fun. And hey, everybody, we got a ton of people over on Instagram too. Yeah, we're picking up this Sports Open line tonight. And everybody,
Right. I know. We're actually not recording the show or anything.
Everybody says it was. I don't know how it wasn't targeting. He dunked that guy and he was like almost out cold. So
I know. But then like I don't know, it was just hard because like in that moment, right? That's a tough call to make. Like, but
oh yeah, I know because it was
you gotta be consistent, like how you call those things.
Yep. But man, I just knew it because Texas was going to get the. I mean, I'm an SEC guy, right?
Because that's what I'm saying. The SEC people was like, "Well, that was bull crap," you know.
I know, dude. I'm just like, oh, I'm glad I'm not making that call.
But it felt like targeting to me, man.
Yeah. So hopefully the night. Yeah. So, but they said the game was going to be tomorrow night, like at night. Now they're saying it's at
It's 4. It's 4
our time. Yeah.
So if you're like, I mean,
so is the Tech Slayer Bowl at night, like the one with Ole Miss? That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know.
Maybe they're not trying to put it on top of the other bowl game because like Ole Miss plays somebody.
Yeah, 4:00 is a crazy time because
you work, right?
Yeah, I work. I work at home, so I mean, and I log out close to that time, so I'll be able to watch it. But it was funny. I was gonna get my haircut because the girls are getting their haircuts right after work tomorrow, and like I was gonna get mine, but like maybe I'll get on Friday now.
Yeah, dude, I'll be super busy the rest of the week because that free dining offer comes out tomorrow. Oh, I hate when those come out.
But I guess it's Georgia Notre Dame because I was thinking like West Coast fans, you know, like I mean that's a middle of the day, 1 p.m. on a work day, you know.
It's got to be because of the other bowl games that are scheduled.
Yeah,
I would imagine. I don't know. All right, let's do this. Let's just
But I kind of prefer it in a way because like I don't know if I would have made it. The game had been kicking off right now. Like I don't know if I would have made it to the end.
Yeah,
it's like I mean it probably wouldn't kick off till 9 because they say 8:45. There's all the stuff that happens beforehand, you know, and like 3.5 hour game. Like I'm looking at like 12:30.
I don't know how you guys do that. Oh, the Gator Bowl's tomorrow night. Yeah, see, there you go. So yeah, so we'll have 2 games. This will boom, boom. Okay, that works. And that's not even, so that and the Ole Miss plays in the Tech Slayer Bowl. So maybe that's like at noon. Maybe we'll have 3 games tomorrow then.
I think there are 3 games tomorrow.
Yeah. Ole Miss plays Duke. Yeah, because Ole Miss is one of the teams that has a chance to get to 10 wins in the SEC, like Mizzou, not Alabama, not South Carolina, not LSU. Tennessee got that. It's a good thing we're carrying the SEC. Anyway, gotta have fun when you can. All right, so let's talk about
it's hoop season for me.
We're doing all right this year, dude. We lost 20 in a row last year, man.
You did lose 20 in a row
or something.
Actually, I think we have a Big Ten game this week.
Yeah, we're done with our
before we start. Hold on, I gotta know now who State's playing.
We start this year.
Oh yeah, we play Ohio State on Friday.
Must be the Tech Slayer Gator Bowl. That must be just the sponsor. Okay, there we go. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, we'll put a whooping on Ohio State's basketball team.
There you go. Please do. Oh yeah, I don't get the Shane Beamer thing.
That was wild.
I'm not a Beamer fan. I think he whines more than
but
more than a little baby doll. So I was cracking up when that was happening. No, Jimmy's here. He's for the Sports Open line. Biggest Texas fan in the world. So there you go. Got to give him his props. He survived 2 heart attacks probably today with the 2 misses by his kicker, but he made it through from Walt Disney World.
Well, Sark, like for the second kick though, like he was like got up in like the kicker's face and all this stuff beforehand, and like I thought that was a bad move, man. Just let him kick the ball. Like
no, I think what he was trying. He he believed if he told him enough positive things, it would matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted to
I
control
think that made the kicker nervous, honestly.
but he was just like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to
Yeah,
tell him.
I didn't like that strategy, but I
I
mean, in
didn't
the end, they
either.
won the game. But
I
yeah,
know. I didn't either. But man, he was trying to force that to happen. He's like, I love you. I love you. You're going to kick that through. I promise you. And they donk. I told Pam, I was like, the happiest guy that they won that game was that kicker, so he doesn't have to walk back to Austin. Yeah, he gets to get on the plane.
4th and 13. I can't believe. And then where was the defense on that play? Like, holy cow!
I know, dude. That was.
Yeah, like telling the kicker. That's basically what he was doing. Like you don't do that. Just let them stick in their normal routine. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota's still playing. There's still some. It's so weird that the bowl season, like usually once the big games happen, like there's none of these like Duke's Mayo bowls anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like bowl season's messed up right now. Like I can't it's hard to focus for like a Duke's Mayo bowl at this point. After watching that game today, man, that was like a heart stopper, and I don't even care for like those aren't my teams. I couldn't handle that if I was Mizzou. I'd be dead. I'd at least be in the ER. Like, sir, what are your symptoms? Our kicker. No, for real. What are your symptoms?
I wish I could count how many times today I heard Michigan State transfer though. Like I was like, oh my god,
I do hear that a lot on almost all games, dude.
Michigan State transfer was said a lot today.
People must not like the weather in East Lansing. That's all I got.
Oh man, it was painful.
All right, we gotta do a podcast. Here we go. So this is 2620. So this is gonna be for the Monday I get back. Got some on my hands. I've been eating cookies all day. Trying to finish the Christmas cookies. All right, here we go. Wait, what happened? Don't have that window big enough. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2624 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend, and all the Be Our Guest Podcast listeners, hope you thawed out on the flight or drive home, and all those medals are getting ready to get displayed properly around the house, office, and you know what? Today, you should be wearing those things to the office and jingling around and take them to school if you're a teacher, into the hospital, or wherever you go. Take them to work, show them off, because it's a great accomplishment. I know that that's what Scott and I have done in the past with our medals. And today, Scott's joining me. It's a Trip Report show because we're talking about his trip back in November, the end of November, as he celebrated the holidays down at Walt Disney World. Now, we did part one where we just talked about staying at the cabins. So if you want to know about that, go back in the feed about 6 weeks and check that show out. But today, we're talking about dining in the parks and some other stuff. So hang out with us. Who knows where this show will go? So Scotty G, co-host of the Be Our Guest podcast, joining me from Must See Adventures over on YouTube. What's going on, Scott? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Mike, and congratulations to all those Be Our Guest lizards, just crushing, whether it was the 5K, 10K, half fold, or all the races, whatever you were doing, and just braving those temperatures. Mike, it kind of like destroyed me that I wasn't there this year, but like with the forecast, I wasn't so upset anymore, because running in the cold, I mean, yes, I'd rather run in the cold than like blazing hot, but like, man, I'm just not prepared for that this year.
So, I mean, there's no secret. We're recording this one before we go down for marathon weekend. I mean, we're not fooling anybody because you have to do that at this point. But this is reminding me before we leave of 2010. 2010 was the year that we ran, and no kidding, it did spit snow throughout the half marathon, and it was so cold, no lying. They had to throw down salt at all the water stops because they were freezing over. Like, people were falling because at the water stops there was ice on the course. So not only would Riley have to say, what's Riley's line that he says with the
caution runners, speed bumps ahead.
Yeah, see, you're good at it because you always say it all the time. Caution runners, speed bumps ahead. But we'd have to get a secondary Riley there saying caution runners, ice skating rink ahead, and Gatorade. So Yeah, hopefully we didn't run into that situation, but if we did, it's going to make for great podcasts here in the next few weeks. So
Right.
anyway, well,
I mean, that's kind of the reason I'm bummed I'm not going, because I just love like crazy events. And to me, this just seems like a wild event that I would want to be part of. But just taking a year off from it, and it pains me though, because 2016 I've not missed one since then. I spectated one year, and then we lost a year due to the pandemic, but it's just something about being there, starting off the year marathon. So again, congratulations to everyone. Hope you made lots of memories with all your friends and all, made your goals. As Mike said, you got to show off the medals. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. When I come home from work, my first meeting of the day, I sometimes purposely schedule a meeting, for no particular reason, just for people to walk into the conference room and see me
yeah.
with my medals all hanging out.
Right, perfect. I mean, yeah, calling all hands, right? Calling all hands, get everybody in there thinking everybody's, getting a pink slip, and just walk in and be like, no, everybody's good. You still have a job, and just be like, that's what I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, but by the way, what's this on my neck? Yeah. Oh, it's so fun.
I mean, think about that. One, they'll be happy that they still have a job, they're not getting laid off. And two, like, hey, dude, look at this bling. It's pretty cool. And you can do this too, because you can sign up for a race here, the next
Yeah, I
few
just have Mike
months.
Rallman business cards all laid out on the table too. Like, this is how you schedule
Yeah,
your
I mean,
trip. And
just small cost of a race entry fee, a room, and a bunch of blisters over the next
yeah.
9 months. That's
Yep.
all.
And then you're just going to be like $40,000 in debt, because you're going to want to do this every year for the next 20 years.
Dude, don't call that number, because that number is probably really close to being true.
Yeah.
Dude, that just hurt me. Right around the holidays too, man. This is when you're broke as a joke anyway, and then we got all this going on. So yeah. And Eric says, I love this. Inviting HR to show off your medals is a solid flex. I totally agree there.
Yeah.
That's why I love this podcast. All right, so we are convening this show today because we need to kind of talk about some of the other stuff from your trip. You guys were down again, staying at the cabins. It was kind of your last Walt Disney World resort you needed to stay and to kind of complete the whole collection there. And we really dove into that last time about driving the golf cart, what it was like swimming there, and all that kind of stuff. But I want to talk about your dining, your theme parks, and that kind of stuff. But I have a question to kind of lead it off before we get into all that, because I was thinking about this afternoon, because I'm kind of in the same situation that you are or were during this trip, and it's that obviously you're a DVC member and longtime annual pass holder. However, due to circumstances, because sometimes you cruise, sometimes you go to Disneyland, and I think this happens sometimes with other folks, you have to kind of look and like say, well, I might get back to Walt Disney World, 3 or 4 times this year. I might do Disney World once. Maybe I have a cruise built in there. Maybe we're going to go to land in that amount of time. And you might let your annual pass lapse. And I think you were in that kind of a situation. So if I'm not mistaken, on this trip, you guys traveled on Magic Your Way tickets for the first time rather than annual passes. Is that right?
Yeah. First time since 2012, I think, or the first year we became annual pass holders, basically.
So talk to me about that, because I mean, it probably did kind of change your mindset as far as like, not only like you're planning pre-trip, but also, because you got to think about like, it's not, you want to get value out of those tickets, because annual passes, like you feel like it's a 365-day investment, but a 7-day Magic Your Way ticket, it's here and it's gone in a poof kind of situation. I think that's how I see it. So tell me about that kind of different feeling from having an annual pass.
It was completely different, Mike, because we'd be sleeping in a little bit or maybe taking our time in the morning. And this actually, we felt this on our first full day on Thanksgiving morning, where our tradition is watch the Macy's Day Parade. Like me and Emily just absolutely love doing that. We'll make some cinnamon rolls and do all that, which we were doing in the cabin. But it's like, this runs till like noon, like 12:30, like, and we're not on an annual pass, we're losing valuable part time right now on what's going to be a very busy day at the Magic Kingdom. So we just we saw a couple things and we're like, let's just go. Like, our Tiana Bayou adventure has already been called. Like, what are we doing sitting in the cabin? Let's get to the park. Where I think on a normal trip with an annual pass, right, Mike, we would take our time. We would slow down and just watch the parade and maybe casually get lunch somewhere and then roll in the Magic Kingdom at like 2 p.m. But we're like, we can't do that when feels like we're paying, like, in quotes, like full price for the ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I mean, did it give you, I mean, not not to say anxiety, but I
Yeah.
mean, did it add kind of a level of, you were always thinking about, well, I want to make sure that I kind of squeeze as much value as I can out of this ticket. Because when I'm down there in an annual pass, like I'll be honest, like I don't care that much if I go into a theme park. Like I'll go in there and grab. I many times have gone into ABC commissary, just grabbed a sandwich and left. I mean, that's the whole reason I went into the studios.
Yeah,
It's
we talked
crazy.
about this on a couple Fridays ago with Ricky, where we're like, well, when we did the over under game, like, what's the number of attractions, right, that you feel good with on a day? And as an annual pass holder, for me, it's like, well, if it's like 2 or 3 attractions, I feel
Right.
fine. I feel like that's a pretty good day. But man, when you're paying like when full price or you got these like 4 or 5 day tickets, I was like, I want 10, I want 11, I want 12 attractions because I just want to get my values worth. And we would do that a lot. There was one day where like we went to Beaches and Cream for lunch, kind of chilling. It was the day of the party, the Christmas party. And we're like, well, we could go back to the resort and rest, but like, no, I want to use a ticket. We got to get into a theme park. We got to like, I was having this anxiety that you were talking about.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not getting the most bang from our buck from these tickets. So that perspective just felt a lot different for us. And, but I tell you, it was great because it got us in the parks more. It felt like one of those like old school, like one of our first two or
Mhm.
three
Yeah,
trips,
yeah.
where we just like, we're in the theme parks all the time and not the resort, even though as you heard from our last trip report, we were definitely at the resort a lot too, taking advantage of the cabin and all that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a catch 22 because I know like the goal was, Fort Wilderness is like a destination in itself. You want to make sure you spend time there. You have the golf cart, you got the deck on your cabin. I mean, but
Yeah.
you also have these tickets that you want to get a value out of. That's why I was kind of wanted to bring this up because I didn't know like where the chips would fall for this kind of a situation. And back in the day, a long time ago, if you didn't use those days, say you bought a 6-day ticket and you decide we only want to go in for 4 days, I think you could like pay a little bit of money at the very end of the trip, and they could kind of buy like kind of pause those last 2 days and use them in the future. I mean, those days are gone,
Well,
so
those are long
you,
gone.
you
That'd be
have
so
to
nice to have though, right? Yeah.
absolutely. I think it was just kind of an
Because
accounting
then you
thing.
could use them for like a scenario that I have coming up where I have a cruise and I'm only there for one day. Like, oh yeah, let's say one of those days for that.
Mhm.
But now I had to buy a 1 day ticket if I want to do that. And we know how
The
painful
first day is so outrageously expensive. I mean, that's where they get you, like, on the first day, second day, third
the
day.
front end of the
Yeah,
days. Yeah.
day 7 through 10, dirt
Because I
cheap.
considered that for this trip, Mike, because it was I was like, well, maybe we only need like 4 days because we got the party one night, and like we'll do some cabin time and all that. But then you hit that sweet spot, like you're at 4 or 5 days, like it seems so inexpensive. I mean, it's still pricey, but you still got to add some dollars. But it seems so inexpensive to add on like 2 more days once you're at 5 days, and then you feel like, well, I got to be in the parks now because I paid for these extra 2 days. But one thing I think I might have told you this, but I'll share it here is I considered doing the upgrade to the annual pass, right? Because like
Mhm.
we're annual pass holders, we're so used to it. So like, because once you use your ticket, you can take that value and put it towards like an upgrade to the annual pass before you run out of days. So you gotta like you like check in basically, and then you got that small window where you can upgrade. And the whole trip, Mike, I'm thinking about it. Like, all right, when are we coming next? Like what trips can we plan right now? We're thinking about the Be Our Guest podcast cruise, so we could probably use some of that then, but that's still 7 months away from now, So, and that's where I was thinking. I was like, man, it might still be a while because we're going to Hawaii in March. So we ended up not once again renewing the annual pass because it could be 5, 6 months until we go again, and that's just a wasted ticket. Basically, is the way I looked at it.
Yeah, and that's where I am, right? Because, I don't have an annual pass currently. Well, I may by the time this comes out. I'm in that same window. I don't know
Yeah.
because I bought a Magic Your Way ticket for now, and I'm gonna make the call when I'm down there. Probably gonna upgrade because I can use it for room discounts. I can use it for dining discounts because I only have to do one. Like, see, that's the difference, right? My girls don't really, like when we come down for the podcast cruise, they're totally cool with not going to the parks at this point. They're
Hmm.
like Mallory and Pam, they're fine just going and like getting a room the night before the cruise at Old Key West and just hanging out at the pool, going to Disney Springs. They love that. They're cool with that. But I'll probably want to go to the parks when we go down in March for the Give Kids the World thing. I'll have a hotel room for a couple nights. I can get an AP discount. So I can make it make sense. I don't buy a lot of merch, but I can kind of make it make sense. But I don't have to, like when I was buying four, whew,
It's painful.
It's crazy. But
Yeah.
I can kind of make it, and I almost look at it as a business expense. I do this
Well, yeah,
for
and you have that great thing you do every year, right? Where you use your Disney Chase Visa for like all
yeah,
your
yeah,
purchases, and
and it
then you get the
covers that.
rewards.
I can use rewards points for it. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, that's how I covered my tickets in the first place for this, for the marathon weekend trip. But anyway, I don't want to hijack it, but I was just wondering because it was
Yeah,
a unique trip because you never are in this situation. I know
yeah.
you're always just like me. Like if for the last 10 years, it's just always been an annual pass. So
And
I'm
you're
going.
absolutely right. You're thinking about like, all right, well, we definitely got a rope drop. We definitely got to stay later. Like we definitely maximized our part time, but it made it fun. It's a busy week, and I mean, there's so much energy. Like the guests are happy. You got all the Christmas stuff happening. It was really fun, and I'm glad that we spent a lot of time in the parks for sure. And I wouldn't do it any differently than how we did it.
Cool. And I know the holiday season just wrapped up. Obviously, we're here mid-January. I mean, it's going to get busy again with Martin Luther King weekend coming up next weekend. It's kind of the first big crazy weekend of the new year. But I'll be honest, if you want to get the jump on next holiday season, do it now because you can book now and you can start planning. The dates for like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and even the Halloween party, they'll come out in like late spring, maybe May or so, April, May ish, but you don't have to have the dates. You can kind of start to get a plan. And Scott's going to tell you some strategies and some things about his trip that maybe you can just make some mental notes because it's a great time to visit. You got decorations, you got awesome background loops, you have great weather typically. It's just, even the costumes that the cast members wear to the party,
So
around the
good.
resorts, Christmas trees at the resort. It's a wonderful time, especially if you've been a few times. It's a great way to see Walt Disney World in a slightly different way, especially if you're like a fan of the holidays, which I totally am. So looking back, you're about 6 weeks removed from the trip. Give us some highlights from the trip. We
Well,
got
one thing I really wanted to talk about, I have a couple, but we bought the lightning lane thing. I can't even think what the name is because it's changed so many times.
multi-pass. Yeah.
The multi pass, yeah. So we bought that, and this is going to be embarrassing because I recorded the podcast with you and all this stuff, but I wasn't 100% sure how it worked. I thought it was like a, I know, like this is embarrassing.
I'm laughing because I don't know because I'm cheap. I don't buy it either.
Yeah, well, I just like because it's gone through so many different phases, right?
I know.
And we've gone through so many phases as Disney fans, from the Fast Pass at the kiosk, the paper Fast Pass system, then the
Beanie
Fast
Plus.
Pass Plus, Genie Plus. Like it's gone through, and recently, especially, it's gone through a lot of different phases of it. But I thought that you could only use it at like one park a day, kind of like the crazy one where you can buy like all the attractions or whatever that show up at any
The
time.
Premier Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was going to kind of work like that. So how I pre-booked it, because you can book like how many days you want to do of your trip. Like you don't have to do like if you have a 7-day ticket, you don't have to do all 7 days. So I chose like a couple days that were going to be at Magic Kingdom, and then I chose like one other day just to play it out at like Hollywood Studios. But what I learned, since I had a park hopper ticket, you could park hop with it, and that like came through really clutch. So one day at Magic Kingdom, like we did 3 attractions first thing in the morning. That's how I scheduled them, right? Because you can get that rolling. I'm still gonna call it fast pass, or lightning lane.
It takes you back. I mean, it takes you back a decade, though. That's exactly how the system worked.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, so like we would like book Big Thunder first thing in the morning, you scan in for Big Thunder, boom, let's find another thing. So we were like kind of doing that. Like the availability is a little harder now, I feel like, trying to find the right times and all that. But we felt like, yeah, we're kind of done with Magic Kingdom. We're gonna go back to Epcot later tonight because we have dinner. So I was like, I'm just gonna try it, Liz. I said to my wife, like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna see if I can get a Soarin' or whatever. And boom, I was able to, and that made me so happy. And then that's where I really learned, like, okay, there's some really good value here with this on a busy weekend, like Thanksgiving, and if you're park hopping. So then we went back to the resort. I just kind of kept my eye on it because then there's like this rule that you can book after so many times. So like I ended up having like 3 more things for Epcot that night when we got there. So definitely got some value there. So if I would have known that, I probably would have used it more days just to take advantage of the heavier crowds. And it is kind of pricey. And like we saw back then, like I believe like it was hitting like a peak dollar amount. Like you see those like articles on social media, like, oh, like multi-lane hit its highest peak of the holiday season. So it was a little pricey, but man, since I was like already in the tickets, like when you think about your Disney trip and all the things you put money into, like just a little bit more, I think can really save you some time there. So I highly encourage that, especially for busy weekends.
And were you getting on the attractions rather quickly, like, from the time it was like 5
Oh,
minutes,
yeah.
10 minutes? I mean, like, they weren't
Yeah, it
overselling.
just felt like normal, right? Yeah, yeah, you would just scan in, and then I didn't, like, notice anything, like, big holdups or because 'cause we've been talking about that other, like, the I forget the name of it, the one where, like, you can just book for, like, all the attractions
Yeah, the
for
Premier Pass, yeah.
the Premier Pass. Thank you, Mike. I should write that down.
No, it's
Yeah.
because they'll change it by the time the show comes out. Don't
Probably. So I didn't notice like any like extra like backlog, right? Because of Premier Pass folks, you know. So it worked good. And like for your theme park strategy too, like we talk about this all the time on the show, like rope dropping is still like to your advantage for sure. Because I remember one morning at Magic Kingdom, I mean, we're talking Thanksgiving weekend, right? This is a busy weekend and we just rope dropped Magic Kingdom. We had a lightning lane for Peter Pan. Quick did that. Then we just hopped over the Small World, got right on that. Then we got on Dumbo, and I still had like 2 lightning lanes still in my pocket. We're just knocking out all of Fantasyland. Then we hop over to Big Thunder, get a new lightning lane. Like I mean, it worked really well. You just got to be aware of it, right, and make sure you're like reloading the app. And that was another thing too. Sometimes you couldn't find like the ride you wanted for the right time. But you
Mhm.
just gotta, and not that we all want to be doing this on vacation, but you gotta like keep refreshing the app basically, and then eventually you'll find something that works really well for you.
And I think that's kind of what we found out at like we really kind of use this really learned the system at Disneyland, right? When we were out there, we used
Yes.
Genie Plus at the time. Elizabeth's really good at this too. Like what we would do is because the density of the attractions in Disneyland Park itself is that you don't like, especially at rope drop, right? You can do so many attractions like so fast, but when you have to kind of stand in a standby line for like 5 minutes, that's a great time to kind of refresh, pick something, boom, and then just do the
Yep.
ride. Then when you have to like 5 minutes of a standby, boom, pick something else, and basically you're standing 2 lines at once.
Yeah. Sometimes I recommend just having like a dedicated like person
Person,
like in
yeah,
your
yeah,
group, like kind of
exactly. That's what
project
she was.
managing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
somebody that's really good
And
at
Liz does really good at that.
it.
Yeah. So
100%.
so that
Yeah.
was fun. So like I highly recommend it. I don't know if that's something you necessarily want to do like over marathon weekend or do that you just had because you're solo, right? Like the
I'm not.
attractions aren't the main
See,
thing, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna buy it because I don't care to ride the ride. Like
Right.
I'm fine as people moving and carousel
Yeah,
progressing.
but I would say, like, for you, like, if the girls decided
Yeah, if they wanna go.
if your girls decide they wanna go over the summer, right, with the podcast cruise, you're buying a 2-day ticket or whatever, then, like, what's a few more dollars, right, to make sure
That's
you
how I
can
see it.
maximize your time, so that's
Yep,
a good time to use it, so
I agree. 100%.
but, yeah,
So
so
what
that was
else?
really great, so that night I was talking about where we hopped over to Epcot, where we had those lightning lanes and we had dinner. Our dinner was at Rose and Crown, and I do wanna talk about that really quick, so we did a candlelight, dining package, which I really wanna talk about because this is my first time ever experiencing that. Um, Rose and Crown was so disappointing to me, man, because you get in there and they give you this menu and it's like 2 things to choose from. Like,
Really?
it yeah, it was just like the fish and chips, the shepherd's pie, and there was like another thing that was basically like a shepherd's pie, and then there was like a gluten-free or some type of vegan vegetarian dish. And it was just, and I thought maybe it was because we were on like
The
the
package?
candlelight
Yeah,
package,
yeah.
but, the server then is like and then I told him like, "Okay, yeah, we're doing the candlelight package." He's like, "Oh, well, let me tell you this then." Like, so he thought we were just like regularly like dining there as guests, and that's like their normal menu. And that's so disappointing. So it's just like, man, I could just be next door at the fish and chips shop,
Yeah.
and like paying half the price and basically getting the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
so like,
interesting because people rave about because I've only been there once, and it was that time we all, like, went as a podcast group with Pam, and, like, we did
oh
the
yeah,
Illuminations. It was right when Illuminations was ending, we had the big Illuminations dining dessert
yep.
party thing, and we had like, the big dock. That was awesome, but it was like a private kind of party thing. So we had all kinds of good food that night, but,
Yeah, and I just remember being there years ago where the
it
menu
must
was
be
just a
more.
little more
It
robust,
must have been because people rave about that place.
Yeah, and I
A lot of
mean, it's
people
still good, right? I mean, the atmosphere inside is awesome, like, there's a piano player in there, and, you have the bar next door, which is, like, just jam-packed and lively and all that, but just the menu is just, like it really threw me off, and it's just their normal menu, so but anyway, so we did the candlelight, and it was again, that was a little more expensive, right? Because 'Cause you're basically paying for, like, this priority seating
Yep.
in the American Gardens Theater to watch the show, and so, I mean, I go to Walt Disney World a lot over Thanksgiving, which is like when candlelight starts. The day after Thanksgiving is the first show, and this is the second day after that Saturday. And I'm like, all right, this year we're finally gonna do it. Let's just do it. We've been there 5 or 6 times. Like it's never really like called to me as something like I wanted to do. But people in the Discord were really like positive about like, oh Scott, like you your passion for music and Disney, and you like Christmas, like you're gonna love it, man. The music alone is just so worth it. I'm like, okay, well, people are saying that. Wait, let's go check it out. And I was still kind of nervous leading up to it, but I was blown away. It
So
was
glad to hear
awesome, dude.
I'm
Like
glad to hear that.
like these guys come out with these like long like horns, and they're so loud and like their sound is so raw and so good. They're like and they're like on stage and then they come off to the sides on the left and the right throughout the performance, and like the live orchestra is so good. The conductor was funny. It was just like I was like, oh my gosh, there's like a lot of music in this, I thought it was going to be like very heavily like religion kind of a thing, like storytelling, but I was just really impressed that there was like all this music. And then our narrator was Josh Gad, who was just a riot, like
Nice, I'm
Olaf.
off.
Yeah, he was so funny. He has so many great one-liners. He probably uses them like every time he narrates, but still, like they were so good. Um, just talking about like he mentioned he had like a comment about Bob Iger out there, and like some other things, and then he got like really like um I want to say like motivational at the end, like talking about like when he was a kid, he would come to Epcot Center and he would stand in the back of the row because his family didn't have enough money to pay for the dining package, which made me kind of laugh. So he get a seat.
Nice.
But he's just like standing, and he was like, I was just standing in the back, and I'd be amazed, and I'd listen to the guy, and I'd ask my mom, why can't we sit in that theater? Like, I want to be in there someday. I'm gonna stand on that stage and like, tell this story one day. He's like, and here I am telling the story. So I mean, it was good. So he's basically telling those kids like, if you could dream it, you can do it, like using that Disney phrase that they like. But
That's cool.
it was so cool. And like, but as all things Disney, right? Like you get your ticket after you do the dining package and it says, oh, arrive 15 minutes before the show time or whatever. And we're just like, I want to go see Impressions de France, obviously like after dinner, we go to Impressions de France, we leave France, and like we see this huge line. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like an hour and 15 minutes to the show. And why is there already this
The line's
ridiculous
already
line?
back to France.
Yes. Why? We're just like trained that way, right? As Disney
Yes.
fans, you just know, like, oh, yep, I gotta line up an hour early for this thing.
Disney fans, I mean, and we're all, and I'm not just calling out like other people, we're all in this together, just like High School Musical, I'm telling you. But we need to take a step back. Like
I know,
a lot of things, dude. Because like when free dining was, we on December 30th, we found out that it was going to be announced on January 2nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody started losing their stuff on December 30th. Okay, we got to wait. Hold up, people. It's not out till January.
Let's enjoy the New Year's a little bit,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Slow down, please. But I mean, that's who we are.
Right. So then we look at each other like, well, I guess we just get in the line. Like even though like we're like guaranteed a seat in this theater where we can sit down, but let's stand for an hour first, because it's the Disney thing to do.
That's why you buy the package. I know. Seriously, dude, those lines too. Oof.
But yeah, but we ended up getting a really great seat, honestly, like maybe like a few rows back, and like this cast member, we asked her like, where should we sit, and she's like, we're like, this is our first time. She's like, oh, well, how about you pick this row right here? And I know it's kind of on the end right now, and there's some roped off section. And then she kind of whispers to us, like, I don't think those seats are going to fill. So then they're going to move you in more. So you're going to be more center. So she's like, trust me, this is the row you want. So, and then we started shifting. And then like, I looked over at her and she like winked at me. She was like, kind of like, I told you so.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. But shout out to a family we met from Kansas while we're waiting in that line. I know it's your favorite place, right, Mike? Kansas.
Yeah, well,
but super friendly family. I haven't written down what their names are. I wasn't like prepared. We called an audible like last minute to record this.
Yes, we lost a football game tonight, so we did a podcast.
Yeah, but they were super sweet. It was funny. Like we were like, sometimes you're in line with your family and like you've had a long day, and sometimes you're like not like grouchy or grumpy with each other, but we're real people, right? So like sometimes like we'll say something that maybe that's like irritating to your family or whatever, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like I don't remember what I was talking about. I remember I was saying like something really dumb. And then like maybe like 3 minutes later, like the person in front was like, hey, are you scoffing the podcast? Dude, and I'm thinking like, what did I just say?
I am so glad that happened to you, because it happens to me all the time, because I'll be like hangry or like super tired like
Yeah.
like my shoes are wet, my socks are wet, and I'm just like, I'm done. And then I'll be like, Mallory, just stop. Are you Mike Rallman? I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
What was funny, like,
Please tell me you didn't hear what I just said for the last 3
I
minutes
know,
of my family.
I know, and it wasn't even that bad. I was saying like something about like a theory I had, and the girls were like knocking it down. I was like, well, you guys know, like my theories are often right. Okay. I'm not trying to be like a jerk here, but like, come on, you guys know me. Like there's a good
So
possibility it
true.
could happen. And then like 2 minutes later, I was like, oh, we should do a hit for the vlog. So then like I got my like vlogger voice out, you know.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
then
It's like Scotty
then I
G.
think it hit him like, oh, that's Scotty G. And then it's crazy how this happens. Though. It almost felt like a cruise ship. Like 2 days later, we're at Beaches and Cream, like I was telling you about, and we bumped into him at the beach club. You know, it's just
Yep.
funny how like you just run into the same people, man.
It's
Awesome.
crazy. Let me ask you about this. So Candlelight was a hit, which I'm glad to hear because plus cast members are singing in the choir and like it's
Oh
just
yeah, so good. Yeah, the lady next to us, their son was singing, so it was really awesome. Like seeing her, like she was like emotional, kind of crying during the show, man. It was just like, oh, I was getting all the feels, man. It was so good.
Oh man. So kind of on that same thing though, you guys did go to the Christmas party, right?
Yes, we did.
So you've done that before, obviously. This wasn't your first time. So was it still up to par? Was there any changes? What was your feels on the 2024 party? Like any tips or anything
It
about that?
was my best Christmas party yet. It
Ooh.
was the best, and the weather could have had something to do with it. Years past, it's been a little too warm, and you know us, we like years past we wore the pajamas. I know you tease me on that sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like the only time I actually wear pajamas is at the party.
I'm
Yeah,
podcasting in the jams tonight.
yeah. But that week in general, I haven't really talked about the weather that week, was on the cooler side, which we've talked about, which is kind of nice. Like sometimes,
Not
you know,
a-
you plan, you want to go to Florida, you want it to be warmer, and then your climate is back home, you know, because like it's Florida, right?
Mhm.
But like when it's like the holiday weekend, you're trying to get into the Christmas spirit, like it was perfect, Mike. So like I had like a long sleeve on, I had jeans, I was comfortable. I bought that awesome bucket hat, you know.
Yeah, you got your money's worth out of that sucker.
Yeah. But we just love the Christmas party. I know it has like a little different type of vibe and energy than like the Halloween party does, but we personally prefer like the cookie trails than the candy trick or treating. I mean, both are awesome, but we just love getting like the cookies, and like each one like has like a specialty drink. Sometimes you get like a little cider, or you get a hot chocolate, or you can get a like a eggnog, which I'm not a fan of eggnog. Do you drink eggnog, Mike?
I don't eat. I hate eggnog. By the way, you can send a shout out to Dave Gentili. He's one of your buddies, Scotty G. He's watch it on Instagram.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Remember Dave Gentili? You
Oh
should.
yeah, I shared a bed with them once, right?
Exactly. I was gonna say. Not
What
that
up, Dave? I hope you're having a happy new year.
Go ahead. Sorry, I just had to
No,
drop
but
that.
so you're not an eggnog guy either, right? I'm
I'm not
not
an
either.
eggnog guy. No.
But Emily, she's like, I'm gonna try this, and like she sipped it at first. She's like, I don't like this, but then she ended up like chugging it because she didn't want to like waste it and throw it away. But
Oh
so that was
man.
just fun. But then like,
Oh, my stomach hurts right now.
but the specialty, I love the specialty food they have. Like, so it's always like a weird situation, right? Like you're paying extra for this event, and then do you want to pay extra for all these other things? But as Disney fans, yes, we do, right?
Yes.
So we got this awesome flatbread that they had at Pinocchio's, which Pinocchio's is not necessarily my favorite place,
It's
but it
middle.
was like this lasagna something flatbread that Beth kept talking about. Like, oh, Beth, shout out to Beth too. Like, she had a list of like, she did all the planning for us for the party. She had like a list of like all the things to go. Like, okay, we got to see this, we got to see that. So like she kept us like really organized with that because I didn't do as much research as I would have liked leading up to this, but I don't know if you go to Pinocchio's ever. I've been like a couple times, and their flatbreads have been disappointing to me every time. I just like going in there waving at the kids, you know, on Small
Yeah.
World. You know, it's kind of fun to be at the window.
The only thing I
But
used to get there were called Figaro fries back in the day.
okay.
Something they're like fries that had a bunch of junk on them that gave you a stomach ache. Yeah.
I mean, minus the stomach ache, it sounds delicious.
Exactly. You
But
waved at the kids and you got a stomach ache eating
yeah,
these fries that had like cheese and the
right.
yeah.
But
Anyway.
this flatbread was so good, and
Mhm.
we all just said like, why can't this be on their normal menu? You know, like they can't get the pepperoni and sausage one right on a normal day, but like they got this lasagna one down to a science at the
Nice.
party. But yeah, we liked doing that. We had we stopped at Pecos Bill and had their specialty tamale, which was awesome.
Man, that sounds good.
We had like the peppermint ice cream at the plaza, you know, like we're just trying all these specialty things which are really good. And I just had a thought because Pecos Bill just made me think of it. Shout out to Abby, our cast member friend who
Yes.
calls in sometimes. I
Abby
got a
from
selfie with. She was
Yep.
working the party. I got a selfie with her. She
Yes.
noticed me.
Abby from
Yep.
Indianapolis, or at
Yep.
least Indiana. Yeah.
Right. So that was awesome. And like, I love the fireworks show and like we just time it. It's interesting. Like we just it was kind of like the 50th anniversary. Remember how we just kind of like rolled up right before the fireworks, before the
Dude,
first ever showing?
perfect spot on the
Yeah.
50th. I can't
That's
believe that still.
that's kind of what we just did for for the Christmas party. But I think that's because everyone is kind of like staking their spot for the parade. I think most people are like, all right, I want to be on some curb for the parade, so I'm not going to go up to the partner statue. I'm going to be a little bit further back on Main Street. So I think that's how we were just able to like roll up, and we got a great spot for the fireworks, and then it was time to find a place for the parade, which every piece of curb was taken, but we just stood behind another family, and honestly, since they were sitting down the whole time for the parade, we just had a perfect view of the parade as well. And like, I just love that parade. I love that song. I know they changed it a little bit this year, like the music, but it still had that homey, joyful, cheery version of like the song, like the Once Upon a Time at Christmas. And that parade just makes me so happy. And then you see Santa Claus at the end. Oh, so good.
Yeah, the big man. I know him. Okay, look, I got to ask you about the parade though, because there was like a new part of the parade this year that was crazy on social media, and I don't
Yes.
know, was it that elf dude, the elf guy? Was he in that? Was he?
So honestly, I don't remember.
People were going crazy, and I don't know, maybe
Callie or something was his name.
Yes, okay, we're talking about the same person then.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Like he's got like a checklist or something, and like he would come up to people on like the curb, and like I just saw like I don't know if he's a meme or what. I'm getting old, man. I don't know, but like people would lose their stuff because I think people on social media were like finding his real name and like saying his real name or something. Like, and I don't know.
It kind of got crazy a little bit there,
but like people are creepers, man. But like apparently this was like a big hit because I know like this is I think a new character that came to the parade and people liked him. And
what's funny, I've
nice things.
Yeah, I've seen so many videos, like reels of him saying
naughty
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, good. They're hitting
But I was so like focused on the floats and the parade and just like smiling the whole time that like I didn't really notice him. But I will say Elizabeth was in front. Elizabeth kind of had a better angle of the parade from like a filming perspective. So Liz filmed the entire parade. So I'm hoping to look back at what footage we have, and I hope I have a video of Tally like doing something out there because that'd be kind of neat.
Something was unique this year. I don't know if it's this year, but I mean, he kind of like caught fire. At least,
right?
That's the thing is like with social media, like I think he caught fire, but then it could have just been my algorithm, right? And I'm thinking,
I mean, I was getting the same thing, but we like the same stuff.
I know, seriously, it's probably just you and I. Everybody's like, who are you guys talking about? You guys are what else?
But that parade though, like, gosh, man, like Boo to You is so good, right? But like, there's something about just being there on like right after Thanksgiving, getting in the Christmas spirit and watching that Christmas parade, watching the soldiers. Oh my God, the soldiers are so good.
I do love the soldiers.
The noise, like the clicky noise they make.
They're playing music. That's the whole thing. Is like they're walking in like wood suits and they're playing music, like playing horns and drums.
The ice skaters, like the gingerbread men, the reindeer. Oh, it's such a good parade. So if you've ever been on the fence about like being there because it's like busy during that time of year, like just do it. Now's the time, right? Mike just said like if you want to have a nice Thanksgiving, like Christmas holiday, like book it now for 2025.
Yeah, now's the time to work a couple overtime shifts a month, put the money away a little bit. Back in the day, I mean, this is how old I am. Like, with my grandma she had like a Christmas club account or something, like, and they'd put a little money away, and then, come time for Christmas, you use it for like Christmas gifts, and forget that. Use it for your tickets to the Christmas party, save up a little extra because you got time.
So I know we're going long, but I haven't even talked about dining, and there's one other thing I wanted to
because tell a little bit about Beach Club, but I mean, what were some of your better sit down places?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Thanksgiving as a general. Like that's always tricky, right? Because you want to have the traditional turkey meal. Well, most of us do, right? Yep. Yeah. And Disney and we talked about this on the podcast. I know Ricky has mentioned it a bunch of times. They're really bad about sharing where can you get a turkey dinner. Like you would think like at the 60-day mark where you can book reservations, they might say something like, oh yeah, these are the restaurants that are going to be, participating in Thanksgiving. And they don't do that. Basically they say, oh yeah, you can go to Liberty Tree or some of the Disney Springs restaurants that are like kind of like locally owned, like privately owned or whatever. They will kind of share their Thanksgiving meals. So luckily I got a same day like walk up to Diamond Horseshoe. I thought that was kind of like my hack. I think like everyone's thinking about Liberty Tree to get something there, but Diamond Horseshoe serves the same exact meal. So I found a walk up.
Yeah, it's like the annex for
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So I found a same day walk up. So we did Tiana's Bayou Adventure, got off that, opened up the app, and it was like a 70-minute wait or something for the walk up. Like, boom, let's do it. We're going to get our turkey meal for sure this way because we had a Yachtsman Steakhouse booked that night because it was also Elizabeth's birthday. So she loves Thanksgiving meal, but like it's her birthday, right? We like to having a nice celebratory, like signature type of meal. So we're like, and I was just like, oh man, I'm husband of the year. On my wife's birthday, I got her the Thanksgiving meal, and we're gonna have a nice signature restaurant later, you know. And yet I was still pretty confident that all these table service restaurants were gonna have some type of Thanksgiving meal. They just haven't advertised it. And sure enough, we get the Yachtsman and they have their holiday meal was on the menu. So Liz went for it again. She had the
that's the right call. I would have done the exact same thing. Can't have enough
and
Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving.
so I went with the filet, like or a New York. I can't remember which one I got. I was like, I gotta get steak. I'm at Yachtsman. But my gosh, man, Liz's turkey dinner was unbelievable. It looked so good. I snuck a bite of it. It was like because it was like it wasn't like the turkey you get at Liberty Tree, you know, like this was like a nice like carving of a turkey, like the nice dressing and all that. Oh man, it was glorious. But that's my tip is that don't rule out all these places for not having a Thanksgiving dinner. I'm 100% on.
Here's the thing, like it's not like they haven't done this for like a quarter of a century.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's no secret at this point. Why don't you advertise? You are going to have Thanksgiving dinner at all these sit-down restaurants. Just tell people.
I know.
Like,
I've done it at Gico where like we've had Thanksgiving dinner
good.
there. I think Ale and Compass was another one we've had Thanksgiving dinner at. They just don't advertise it for some reason. And
I don't know
then
why.
you're sweating all day, like, oh my gosh, are they gonna have it?
Because then you had double turkey, which that's not a problem.
That's not a problem. It's Thanksgiving.
I mean, you had steak. It sounds like you have regrets.
I kind of did. Like I'll have to send you a photo of the turkey, man. It looked so good and it tasted good too. But yeah, so that was good. I mean, we hit some of our favorites. Like Ohana has kind of been a recent favorite of ours for dinner. So we did that on our check-in day. And you heard all about our fun check-in process on the last episode. But that was good. And you know what we did? Because that was on your birthday, actually. That was the 27th of November. And we finished up Ohana, had a great view of the castle, you know, and all this. And it was a party night. So we walked out to the beach and we watched the fireworks show right there. And like, that's really nice. So like, and like, we just got lucky that it planned that way, that's when our ADR was, and it timed it right when the show was ending. But there's something about like watching like Magic Kingdom fireworks from like a distance and not having like 6,000 people like right up on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think you need to see them both ways, right?
Yes, you absolutely do.
But man, there's something to be said for like when the fireworks, like seeing them at the beach at the Poly or something, or you know, watching them out in front of Gasparillas at the Grand Floridian or something like that, or you know, outside of California Grill up top of the Contemporary, whatever. But you know, like there's something to be said for when the fireworks are over, dude. You can just like walk to your car.
You're just done.
Get on the monorail.
That's what we did.
Back, dude. It's so much nicer. Exactly.
And it helped that we knew we were going to the party later that trip, so it was kind of like a great way to start the trip. Like that was our first night, and we already saw like the party fireworks, and we knew like, oh yeah, we're gonna be back in there later in a few days.
It's like an appetizer for you at that point.
But like that just made it like a beautiful evening. We had a dinner and a show, and like and then we were back at our resort in like 10 minutes. Instead of beating the crowds. Yeah.
Nice.
But that was so good. I think did we talk about the cake bake shop? I think we did like on a live show, but like
we did that on a Sunday night, I think.
Yeah. So shout out to Jason Veronica, who friends on the Discord, friends of the podcast. We got to meet them finally in person. We had a lovely meal at the cake bake shop. And we turned this into like dinner and a show too. We did the dinner first at the cake bake shop. And then we walked over to Epcot and did the Glimmering Greenhouse at Living with the Land, which is like the best. Yes, I mean, that really is the best.
Oh,
you did that, but it wasn't like dark yet, right?
I tried to wait because I only had that 1-day ticket, and Ben wanted to do Studios, Epcot, and Magic Kingdom in that 1 day in that order. So I had to do it like at 3:30 or like 4. So I couldn't wait till dark. It was not dark.
So you want to know something wild about that night though? So I somehow got boarding group 1 for Guardians that day.
You can use it time, right? You can use that. You can redeem that anytime.
You can redeem that anytime. But so but we still road dropped Epcot, and we had this plan. Like we had a couple vlog ideas, like Festival of Holidays. We're gonna do these holiday kitchens. We're gonna relive this old thing we did with Emily about shopping around World Showcase. So we had this whole plan for the day. And we're like, sweet, we'll get to Epcot, we'll ride Guardians because we're one of the first boarding groups, and we'll get in the World Showcase. So we get there, and the ride is down.
Ugh.
Like, oh, that stinks. Like, well, let's get a coffee at Connections. We'll get our passport out for Festival of Holidays and start marking off things we want to target. Try to get a plan for the day, and maybe they'll come up. And we waited, didn't come up. Then we went to like that new commuter core section or whatever. We saw like the cool like spaceship birds. I'm sorry, I saw photos of that, like the gingerbread. Yeah, that was actually really cool.
Like, that looked pretty. I didn't get to see it in person. We skipped it, but yeah.
Yeah, so we went and looked at that and all this. We're just trying to like really slow like our in quotes future roll time down, hoping that Guardians would come up, and it just never did. We're like, all right, we're not gonna wait here all day. We got things we want to do in World Showcase. So we get the World Showcase and still not up. So like we're still hanging out there. And I jokingly said earlier to the girls, like, we're gonna be like in the American Pavilion about as far away as you can when this ride comes up.
100%.
And it was like around 1:30 or something. I'm in the America Pavilion, and then I got the text that Guardians, our boarding group, had been called. But like that's the first group of the day, and it was 1:30 p.m. So they're having like a rough one. And so like we're like, well, we're not gonna go back. So then we had the meal at Cake Bake. We did Living with the Land, and we're like, it was getting close to closing time. I'm like, well, let's go back. Let's try to use our boarding group, and it was down again.
At that point, it was exhausted from everybody
Right.
trying to redeem from the whole day.
Yeah, but get this, it was only at like boarding group like 30 something. So like it just had a really bad day is what it came down to. So we're like, well, I could go for a soda. Let's go to Connections really quick. Like there's still like, and actually they had like extra deluxe magic hours, so we're gonna hang out till like later that night anyway, because we're staying at the cabins when you book on DVC are considered deluxe.
I was gonna say those things aren't deluxe or moderate. Yeah, but
when you book DVC, yeah. So that's like kind of like a hack there.
Yeah, right. I was like, what's up?
They're like, all right, well, let's go to Connections, and maybe I just want a soda. And like, this is kind of cool. Got some Disney magic, because like they're like closing up basically. And I'm like, can I just buy like a soda, which is gonna be like $4 or $5? But like, I'm so thirsty. And they're like, just one? I'm like, yeah. And then she gave me like a cup. She's like, this is on Mickey or something. And then I'm like, well, can Emily come? And then Emily was like standing next to me. It's like saw it happen. Like, well, can Emily get one too? I said to the cast member, and she's like, yeah. She's like, how many are there of you?
How big is Mickey's credit line today?
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, there's 5 of us because we had like Jason, Veronica. She just gave me 5 cups. I was like, oh, that was really nice. I mean, it cost them like nothing, right?
Exactly.
But that was really nice. So filled up a soda, and then boom, the ride came open. They're like. And it was crazy, Mike, because like, even with like the virtual queue or whatever, like that line still gets kind of long. Like you've done it with us.
Yeah.
Like I know you can't handle that ride very well, but it was like it was a straight up walk on. Like we walked nonstop through that queue to like basically where you go to like the pre-show. It was really cool. Like just like walk around and like just it was interesting. But yeah, we finally did it. Boarding group 1 finally we were able to do it at 9 o'clock when the park was
nice. You got in. Yeah. I mean, so because we are running a little bit long, but I mean, so what would you say like kind of closing was like the seminal moment of the trip? Like, I mean, you got because staying in there kind of from both shows. I mean, was it the experience of the cabin, the uniqueness of that, or was it the party? Was it what would you say was
so
like?
Much. I mean, I didn't even talk about Hoop-de-Doo, I think, which was awesome because we got to see like
that's kind of like you really talked about that like your very first time you went there. Now this is kind of becoming a thing you tend to do almost every trip.
We do. It's wild and it was fun going with Beth. Beth joined us for the first time. It was her first time in Pioneer Hall, so that was great. We got the seat I always get, which is right up in the front by the piano player. I don't know how
you're a musician, then just in case like they need a
backup
or something.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I can jump in. But I didn't know they did like a Christmas overlay to the show, which actually like makes sense when you think about Disney, right? So Pioneer Hall is decorated with Christmas decorations, and they sang like Christmas songs during the show, which I thought was like, oh my god, like I thought I loved Hoop-de-Doo a bunch, and now I love it even more.
That's cool. That's super cool.
But like they were just like they're crazy there because you get like the unlimited sangria or like the beer when you go in there, and I ordered the beer. I get the Yingling because I can't get that in Michigan, so that's kind of like my go-to at Hoop-de-Doo. And the guy gives me like 2 giant like glasses to start, almost basically like a pitcher. and I'm just drinking it during the show. Like, and it's just unbelievable. They always make sure you have like a full glass at all times. And I text Jason like right after the show because I know he was going to Hoop-Dee-Doo in a couple weeks. And I'm like, there's no restroom stop, like a Hoop-Dee-Doo restroom stop, like after the show, man. Like you just got to go so bad. If they didn't have those restrooms right next door, like that would just be a disaster.
No kidding.
Like, but yeah, but
With the epic picture on the inside of the men's
with the
room.
epic picture, yeah. But
Exactly.
it was the fort. I mean, the fort was really like the centerpiece of the trip. Like seeing that cabin, marking off the last resort for the gardeners. You know, it's really special. The golf cart, the holiday decorations, which I know we went into detail on another episode, but that was really like the overall highlight of the trip. One other thing too that I wanted to mention is we did go to Animal Kingdom briefly on this trip. Like we love Animal Kingdom Park. It was after our beaches and cream. We're like, what are we gonna do? Like we got the party coming up. We're like, oh, let's go to Animal Kingdom because we had to say goodbye to Dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
We just had this like freak out moment. And it was funny the next day, the Disney parks like posted this thing like, oh, Dinosaur, you can still ride in all of 2025.
Yeah, it'll be here for the next decade.
Because Elizabeth can't stand Dinosaur. Like there's just something about like she loves Indiana Jones out west, but there's something about dinosaurs she can't do. So she's like in retirement. I think you even hung out with Elizabeth once while me and Emily would ride it.
Yeah.
She just can't do it. And then she was like, all right, this is gonna be the last time, so I'm gonna come out of retirement. This is gonna be the last time we do Dinosaur. And it was just so funny. And the next day, it's like, well, it's still gonna be around.
Disney got me.
But the Chester and Hester area is kind of going away. Actually, I think they already started, or maybe by the time this airs, I think they've already started getting ready to try a Triceratops spin in the game. So we made sure we did that. And of course, we went 100% on the carnival games. We won like 3 more carnival animals to add to our collection. So that was good. So it was just, it's an interesting piece of Animal Kingdom. I'm very excited for what's to come, but like we had to make sure that we, paid tribute to all the great memories that we had in that area.
Well, to kind of piggybacking on that real quick. So those carnival games, you won like the dinosaur that it's branded to Dino Land, right?
Yes,
people were trying to buy that from you, correct, or Emily? Like,
I think it was Jason Veronica. They were trying to buy them off. Well, we had a person that was like a teacher that was trying to collect them all for their classroom, and we won.
Or were they?
I know, and they got like kind of not passive aggressive with us a little bit, like complaining to like the cast member, like, well, I've been working all day trying to get that, and they just roll up here and win it. Like that's not fair. And then like
it's like you win or lose, it's sport.
I know. And then like we didn't think we had that one. Of course, we get home, we're like, oh, we already had 2 of those. But oops.
But see, here's the thing. I think it's cool to get those things because they're like, those are definitely going to be a piece of history, right? Like, for example, the day we're recording, I saw on social media, and I don't buy stuff like very much merch anymore because just my wife, I mean, I say as I come home with that big popcorn bucket on the cruise, I got the Haunted Mansion popcorn or sipper thing. I do.
I think it's sweet though.
I think it's really sweet. Like I try to get
super. You're turning into us. Like we just buy those for like art for like the house.
That's what they are, right? I mean, I don't even put the popcorn bucket away, even though it's Mickey like is an elf because he's so cool looking because he's retro. But I will have to put him away soon. But I saw that, and I don't drink coffee, and I don't collect coffee mugs. But I saw that Disney just put out a Sam Eagle coffee mug that says Muppet Vision on it. So like Muppet Vision is going away, and Sam Eagle is my favorite, Muppet. So I think I got to get that on, I hope I got that on this trip because that's something. But I mean,
I really hope you did too. I'm jealous. I want that. Yeah.
Well, if maybe I'll get 2, but it's like one of those things. Like it's just going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. But I mean, it's one of those things. But it's going away, right? I mean, like when I see it sitting on a shelf, it'll make me happy. Like to remember all the times I saw Muppet Vision.
Right.
It'll be gone.
And we did, of course, we saw Muppet Vision this trip too. We paid our goodbyes to that. I think Ricky talked about that on a recent podcast too. It was just sad we're all kind of running through that cycle. You just did that over marathon weekend again too. So such a great piece of Disney Hollywood Studios. But exciting things are to come. So awesome trip. I could go on forever, but like I think I hit some of my highlights. It was just I can't encourage you all enough that are listening that have thought about like a Thanksgiving trip. I know Thanksgiving is a great time to be with your families, and like travel around your local area and have like those big feasts at home. But like, there's something about being there at Walt Disney World, just spending time with your family and getting excited for the holidays afterwards. It just makes me so joyful and happy just being there that time of year. So if you can do it, I highly recommend doing it.
All right. Well, great trip report. And we'll be back together this week with more of your listener questions and a fun show on Friday. But Scotty G, thanks for kicking the week off with us. And it's going to be a great 2025 here on the show.
So excited for 2025. Big year ahead.
All right. Don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. A lot of stuff going on down at Walt Disney World this year. Also, Disneyland celebrating 70 years of magic out there. Tons going on out there. And of course, Disney Cruise Line. You got the Disney Treasure. You got Disney Destiny coming soon. And of course, the classic ships as well. So get out there with Disney Cruise Line. It's a ton of fun. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air. I cannot thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And you can see all my coverage from Walt Disney World this past week there right now. And you can check out Scott at Epscott, EPSCOT, in those same places. And most importantly, check them out over on YouTube. Must See Adventures. Subscribe, like the videos. Scott, what's going on over there lately?
I think we're at Disneyland Paris by now. So if you love the Walt Disney World parks and Disneyland, you got to check out our day and a half at Disneyland Paris. It is spectacular.
Nice. Oui.
You might hear me saying that a couple times too.
I figured as much.
You might hear me saying bonjour and oui.
Bonjour, oui. All right. All right. And so I'm back. So we'll have a live call-in show this coming Sunday because we missed it last week while I was probably lots of pain from running the dopey, and you would not have wanted to hear from me then. But we'll have one this coming Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Join us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We'll take your calls, so be ready. Until then, we'll see you on Wednesday. So for Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
Boom.
That was a good one.
Sorry, I went long, man. I was just
good. That was a good one. That people love that one. That was
good.
That was good stuff. All right, I'm gonna edit this bad dog up, and I got to get some work done before bed.
Okay, I know. We're ending at 9:45. That's crazy.
I know it is. It's nuts.
And it's not. It feels like it's a Sunday night, but it clearly
totally feels like it's a Sunday night. I know, dude. I cannot feel like it's a Wednesday. It's bizarre.
I know, it does not feel right. But
all right.
I'll probably send Mallory a text tomorrow. But if you see her around, tell her happy birthday from all of us. So
I will tell her. I heard her leave. She went out with her friends. But
okay, I'll shoot her a message tomorrow. So
all right, I will talk to you. All right, see you.
Good night. Bye, everyone.